Have you heard of the Stargate plan? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, doesn't it? But I promise you, it is very, very real. It's the name for one of the most ambitious and high-stakes initiatives on the entire planet right now. A plan that's really poised to redefine global power for generations. Okay, let's get into it. So what is this massive plan, really? Well, on the surface, it's a strategic blueprint to build the future of artificial intelligence. But as you're about to see, the real story here is much, much bigger than just that. To get a sense of the scale we're talking about, just look at this number, $500 billion. That is a colossal amount of money being poured into this thing by 2029. This isn't just another project, it's a full-on declaration of intent. It signals a fundamental shift in what a country prioritizes. And, the goals are just as huge as the price tag. We're talking about securing undisputed global leadership in AI, totally beefing up national security, and kickstarting a whole new wave of economic growth. The plan's also aiming to create over 100,000 jobs, all while pushing for the holy grail of AI research, artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Yeah, make no mistake, this is a nation-defining kind of effort. But right when you think you've got the story figured out, it takes a really sharp turn. Because the Stargate plan we've been talking about, it's not one straightforward plan at all. And this is where the story gets really complicated. That's right, the Stargate plan. Well, it isn't a single plan, not even close. It's a name that actually represents something else entirely, a global competition that's happening right out in the open. And here it is. Here's the twist. Stargate is the name for two separate, rival initiatives launched almost at the exact same time by the world's two biggest superpowers. On one side, you've got the United States Stargate Project, and on the other, you have the Stargate of China plan. This is absolutely not a collaboration, it is a head-to-head race. So how do these two competing visions stack up against each other? Let's break down the blueprints, see what makes each one tick, and we'll start with the fundamentals. This table tells you so much about their core philosophies right away. I mean, both plans were announced in early 2025, but their models just could not be more different. The US put that hard number on its investment, that massive $500 billion figure, and it's running as a public-private partnership, bringing in giants like OpenAI and NVIDIA. China's plan, on the other hand, is completely state-led. It's a top-down, centralized approach. Now, if you look at their goals, you start to see these subtle but really critical differences. The US is laser-focused on maintaining its technological superiority, especially in areas like defense and energy. China's goal is to become a leader, sure, but also to deeply integrate AI across its entire economy. Think sectors like healthcare and transportation. And yep, both are targeting over 100,000 new jobs, which shows just how much of an economic engine they believe AI can be. You see, this isn't just about who can build better technology. This race has huge implications for the entire world order. The winner doesn't just get the fastest computer, they literally get to write the rules for the future. And here's how they're playing the global game. The US strategy is all about building alliances and using tools like strict export controls to try and limit the spread of what it calls authoritarian influence. China's taking a different route. It's working to shape the rules from the inside by influencing global standards bodies like the UN and promoting a sovereignty-first model, which actually appeals to a lot of developing nations. And other global powers? They are definitely feeling the heat. This quote, it just captures the anxiety in Europe perfectly. There's this very real fear among other nations of being left behind, of becoming totally dependent technologically on either Washington or Beijing. And this puts regions like Europe in an incredibly tough spot. They're basically caught in a technological tug-of-war, facing critical supply chain vulnerabilities. I mean, whether it's relying on US hardware or taking a risk on alternatives, there are just no easy choices in this new bipolar tech world. But here's the thing. Despite all the money and all the national will, success for either side is far from guaranteed. Both of these Stargate plans face enormous challenges, and the stakes could not be higher for every single one of us. What's really striking here is that for all their differences, both superpowers are basically wrestling with the exact same demons. They're facing serious questions about long-term job displacement, major ethical concerns around surveillance, and those critical supply chain bottlenecks for high-end GPUs. Both plans also raise questions about whether the funding is even sustainable, and they risk creating a world with fractured, incompatible tech standards.
So ultimately, we have to look past the hardware and the algorithms. This whole contest is fundamentally about which set of values will get embedded in the technology that's going to govern our future. It's really a battle for the soul of the digital age.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty sobering question. As these two titans pour trillions of dollars and their brightest minds into these Stargate plans, we really have to ask ourselves, in this race for supremacy, who is ultimately going to get to define the ethical and moral rulebook for all of humanity?